Hello scientists, I hope that everyone is doing well and that you've had a good weekend. This week's Science Club topic is air. We're going to be playing around with air in several different activities, and our main concept is that air has mass and it takes up space. That's one that you could write on the board if you were a mind to and refer to it throughout the meeting, but air has mass and it takes up space. Your kit is prepared with 3 activities to do. The first activity is building a weather vane. To build a weather vane, the instructions are also included. Everybody's got a printed copy and the instructions on how to do it, step by step. But a quick rundown, each student will get a file folder like this, and on the file folder they'll use markers or colored pencils to draw an arrow on the bottom of the file folder so that when they cut it out, it will be, it'll have 2 sides hinged. And then after they've made their arrow and cut it out, they are going to decorate it if you've got time, and then they are going to take one of these little wire nuts. You've got a bag of these wire nuts. Thank you, Lacey and Vanessa, for helping me sort those this last week. But they are going to find the balancing point, and that's a little tricky. It's not a perfect science, haha. But the closest they can get to the balancing point, the better it'll be for their weather vane. And they're just going to snip a little diamond-shaped hole like that, and then put their wire nut in there, and then it's just about finished. And then these little wire handles will be what they put their weather vanes on, and so this will be their weather direction tool, and these will be for them to take home. The second activity that they've got, besides making the weather vane, is playing with dry ice fog cups. To do the dry ice fog cups, we have a cooler. A cooler will be with each kit with dry ice inside of it. Let's see if I can get this off. I apologize for the shaky camera work, but there's so much stuff here that I can't quite do it in a stationary. For dry ice, if you've never played with it or handled it before, it's got a bad reputation, but it's relatively safe to hold. Don't lick it or put it in your eye, because it'll freeze you real quick. But if your hand's dry, you can hold it as long as you kind of keep it moving a little bit. If it's not sitting in one place, it's not going to cause you problems. But if you let it sit in one place for a long time, it's going to start to freeze these white spots onto your skin and give you frostbite. So they will thaw out, and after about 2 minutes they'll quit stinging, but it's not a big deal. If the students touch it, it's not a problem. I try to tell them not to just because it's simpler for me. But your kits will also have cups in them, and it's best to use warm water. But they're just going to take these pieces of dry ice, or the assistant facilitators can, and just put them in. And then they'll be able to see that solid evaporating quickly, and the bubbles will jump up out of there. And you'll be able to talk about states of matter, which are solids, liquids, and gas. And some smart kid will always try to talk about plasma, and you're welcome to go off into left field if you want to, but solids, liquids, and gases are our main goals. You can stay here with this for as long as you want, and I think you could probably get to the end of a lesson with just that, and they would probably be thrilled. But we do have an extension for that I think is really cool. If you have Jack Doolittle in your club, kudos and hats off to Jack, because Jack Doolittle and Jack Small this last summer worked together in a shooters and blasters class, and they came up with a smoke ring launcher. And in that class, they discovered that if you take a CD and glue it, hot glue it, to a little section of pipe, you can make a little smoke ring shooter. Now, assistant facilitators, this is going to be one of your jobs. Your job, while the students are building their weather vanes or observing their fog cups, is going to be getting these glued. And you've really got to goop it on thick, and get a good solid seal. If you have a responsible kid that you want to help hot glue, that's fine, but I burn myself pretty bad every time I do this, so be mindful about who you would choose to help you with that. But every student's going to need one of these. You'll also need 2 or 3 extras because somebody's going to break theirs off again. But after you've got these glued, a rubber balloon is going to be stretched over it, and the way it works is you take, and I'm going to do 2 hands here. Is you take small chunks of dry ice, and here's a little piece that I busted up with this mallet. But you take these little pieces and you drop them in. And you don't pull it back like a slingshot. Instead, what you do is you can squirt in just a little bit of water, and it will start making fog inside of your device. And it's similar to the fog that's being made here, but it's just in your cannon. And instead of pulling it back and shooting it like a slingshot, you can tap the bottom. Now, it does not show up great on camera just because of the nature of my background. Oh, there we go. But once you get the fog going, you can get some pretty good smoke rings going, and the kids really enjoy doing it. So you can have them play around with that. And if it gets too crazy, you can go right back to the smoke cups. But at the end, these can be kind of dumped out and drained as best as possible. And those same smoke rings will just be rings. And as the kids pull these back and shoot them, it will launch a little ring of air that'll go 5 or 6 feet. And they can hit their friends with a little air gun. And these will be for them to take home too. But be aware, these things do snap off pretty easy. And somebody's going to break their balloon. There's not a ton of extras in there, so try to be mindful. The best technique I've had to put these balloons on is lay that down and take 2 hands into the balloon and then stretch it down and pull it down over there. But those are the 3 activities. There's the weather vanes, there's the smoke cups, or fog cups, and then the smoke ring shooters. And they all revolve around the concept that air has mass and it takes up space. Thank y'all for all you do. I appreciate all of your help. When you bust up the dry ice, make sure you wear goggles. All right, y'all have a great week.